Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Learn and Talk podcast. Today's episode is all about something that can completely change your daily life: how to organize your week. Many people feel busy all the time, but they still feel unproductive and stressed.
That's right, Emma. A lot of people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they don't have a clear weekly plan. Organizing your week helps you save time, reduce stress, and stay focused.
And the great part is that today's episode will help you do two things at the same time: organize your week better and improve your English naturally.
Exactly. We'll use real-life English, useful phrases, and simple grammar so you can talk about planning, routines, and priorities with confidence.
Before we begin, please like this video, leave a comment, and tell us how you usually plan your week. Do you plan on Sunday, Monday, or not at all?
Your comments help our channel grow and help other learners too. Don't forget to subscribe to the Learn and Talk podcast for more modern English lessons connected to real life.
Daniel, let's start with the basics. Many people say they want to organize their week, but they don't really know what that means. Some people think it means filling every hour with tasks, while others think it means writing a long to-do list that they never finish. So my question is, what does it really mean to organize your week in a realistic and effective way? Please explain this using simple and modern English. Include useful expressions such as plan your week, weekly schedule, and priorities. From a grammar perspective, explain how learners can use the present simple tense to talk about weekly routines and adverbs like usually, often, and rarely. Finally, how can learners talk about poor planning habits without sounding negative about themselves?
That's a great question, Emma. Organizing your week does not mean planning every minute of your life. In reality, it means deciding what matters most and creating a flexible structure around it. Many learners use the present simple tense to describe weekly routines. For example, I usually plan my week on Sunday, or I often feel stressed on Mondays. These sentences describe habits, not problems. Adverbs like usually, often, sometimes, and rarely help learners sound realistic and honest. The phrase plan your week means taking time to think ahead. Learners can say, I plan my week by writing my main tasks. The structure by plus verb ing explains how something is done. A weekly schedule is a simple overview of your days. Learners can say, my weekly schedule includes work, study, and rest. This sentence shows balance. Priorities are the most important tasks. Learners can say, I focus on my priorities first. This sentence sounds confident and clear. Talking about poor planning habits should be gentle. Instead of saying, I am bad at planning, learners can say, I am improving my planning skills. The present continuous tense shows progress. Grammar supports mindset. Using phrases like, I am learning to organize my week, removes pressure and builds confidence. In conclusion, organizing your week is about clarity, not control. When learners use flexible language and simple grammar, planning becomes easier and more effective.
Daniel, many people try to organize their week, but they feel overwhelmed very quickly. They write long lists, schedule too many tasks, and then feel disappointed when they can't finish everything. This often leads them to give up planning completely. So my next question is, how can people organize their week without feeling overwhelmed? Please include expressions such as avoid overwhelm, break tasks down, and manage your time. These phrases are very common in modern English. From a grammar point of view, explain how learners can use modal verbs like should and can to give advice, and how using imperatives helps give clear instructions. Also, how can learners talk about being overwhelmed in a mature and professional way?
Emma, feeling overwhelmed is very common when people try to organize their week. The problem is usually not time, it is unrealistic planning. Learners can give advice using modal verbs. For example, you should plan fewer tasks, or you can start with 3 priorities. The modal verb should gives gentle advice, while can offers options. Imperatives are also helpful. Sentences like break tasks down, write smaller goals, or leave space in your schedule are clear and practical. Avoid overwhelm means planning less, not more. Learners can say, I avoid overwhelm by planning only important tasks. Again, by plus verb ing explains method. Break tasks down means dividing big tasks into smaller steps. Learners can say, I break tasks down into simple actions. This sentence sounds practical and calm. Manage your time means using time intentionally. Learners can say, I manage my time better when I plan weekly. The word when shows cause and effect. Talking about overwhelm should be neutral. Instead of saying, I can't handle anything, learners can say, I feel overwhelmed when my plan is too full. This sounds professional. Grammar helps emotional balance. Using the present continuous tense, such as, I am feeling overwhelmed, shows that the feeling is temporary. In conclusion, weekly planning should reduce stress, not create it. When learners plan realistically and use calm language, they stay consistent and confident.
Daniel, my final question is about consistency. Many people organize their week once, but they don't keep doing it. After a few weeks, they return to old habits. So my question is, how can learners build a weekly planning habit that lasts long-term? Please include expressions such as stay consistent, weekly review, and long-term planning. Also explain grammar structures like future forms, will and going to, and conditional sentences. Finally, how can learners talk about consistency without feeling pressured?
Emma, consistency is the key to successful weekly planning. Planning once is helpful, but planning regularly is powerful. Learners can use future forms to talk about intentions. For example, I will review my week every Sunday, or I am going to plan my week on Friday evening. Going to sounds more planned and realistic. A weekly review means looking back and learning. Learners can say, I do a weekly review to improve my plan. This sentence shows reflection. Stay consistent means repeating small actions. Learners can say, I stay consistent by keeping my planning simple. Again, by plus verb ing explains method. Conditional sentences help planning. For example, if I plan my week, I feel more relaxed. This first conditional connects action and result. Talking about consistency should feel supportive. Instead of saying, I must plan perfectly, learners can say, I try to plan regularly. The verb try reduces pressure. Language shapes habits. Using sentences like, I am building a planning habit, shows growth and patience. In conclusion, long-term planning habits grow slowly. When learners use flexible grammar and realistic language, weekly organization becomes natural and sustainable.
Daniel, many people organize their week carefully, but unexpected events often destroy their plans. Meetings run longer than expected, family responsibilities appear suddenly, or energy levels drop during the week. When this happens, people feel frustrated and think their weekly plan has failed. So my question is, how can people stay flexible when their weekly plan doesn't go as expected? Please include useful expressions such as stay flexible, unexpected changes, and adjust your plan. These phrases are common in daily English conversations about work and life. From a grammar point of view, explain how learners can use linking words like because, so, and however to explain changes in plans. Finally, how can learners talk about changes without sounding stressed or negative?
Emma, flexibility is an essential part of organizing your week. A good weekly plan is not rigid, it is adaptable. Unexpected changes happen to everyone, and planning should support life, not fight it. Learners can talk about unexpected changes using simple linking words. For example, my meeting was longer than planned, so I adjusted my schedule. The word so shows result. Another example is, I planned to study, but I felt tired. The word but introduces contrast. Stay flexible means being willing to change your plan without guilt. Learners can say, I stay flexible by leaving free time in my schedule. The structure by plus verb ing clearly explains how flexibility is achieved. Adjust your plan means making small changes, not starting again. Learners can say, I adjusted my plan because something unexpected happened. The word because explains the reason calmly. Using however is also helpful. For example, I didn't finish my tasks, however, I made progress. This sounds mature and professional. Talking about changes should be neutral. Instead of saying, everything went wrong, learners can say, my plan changed this week. This focuses on facts, not emotions. Grammar helps reduce stress. The past simple tense, such as I changed my plan, keeps the situation clear and finished. The present simple, such as I stay flexible, shows long-term habits. In conclusion, flexibility is not failure. When learners use calm language and clear grammar, weekly planning becomes realistic and supportive.
Daniel, my next question is about balance. Many people organize their week around work or study, but they forget to plan rest, exercise, or personal time. Over time, this causes burnout and low motivation. So my question is, how can people organize their week in a balanced way that includes productivity and rest? Please include expressions such as work-life balance, schedule rest, and recharge your energy. From a grammar perspective, explain how learners can use modal verbs like need to and have to, and how time expressions such as in the evening and at the weekend help weekly planning. Finally, how can learners talk about rest without feeling lazy or guilty?
Emma, balance is one of the most important goals of weekly organization. A productive week is not only about work, it is about sustainability. Learners can express necessity using modal verbs. For example, I need to schedule rest, or I have to protect my energy. Need to sounds personal, while have to sounds external. Both are useful. Work-life balance means giving time to different areas of life. Learners can say, I plan my week to support work-life balance. This sentence sounds professional and modern. Schedule rest means planning recovery intentionally. Learners can say, I schedule rest in the evening, or I relax at the weekend. Time expressions like in the evening and at the weekend make plans clear and natural. Recharge your energy means restoring mental and physical strength. Learners can say, I recharge my energy by walking or reading. Again, by plus verb ing explains method. Talking about rest should be confident. Instead of saying, I do nothing, learners can say, I rest to stay productive. This connects rest to purpose. Grammar helps mindset. Using sentences like, I am learning to balance my week, shows growth. The present continuous tense highlights progress. In conclusion, a balanced week includes action and recovery. When learners organize their time with supportive language and clear grammar, they stay healthy, focused, and consistent.
Daniel, many people organize their week with good intentions, but they struggle with distractions. Social media, phone notifications, emails, and unexpected messages often interrupt their plans. As a result, they feel that their weekly organization looks good on paper but fails in real life. So my question is, how can people organize their week in a way that helps them stay focused and avoid distractions? Please include useful expressions such as reduce distractions, stay focused, and manage attention. These phrases are common in modern English conversations about productivity. From a grammar point of view, explain how learners can use gerunds, verb plus ing, after certain verbs, and how adverbs like carefully and intentionally improve clarity. Finally, how can learners talk about distraction problems without blaming themselves?
Emma, distractions are one of the biggest challenges in weekly organization today. The goal is not to remove all distractions, but to manage attention more intentionally. Learners can use verbs followed by gerunds to explain habits. For example, I avoid checking my phone during work, or I focus on completing one task at a time. The verb avoid is followed by verb plus ing, which is a common grammar pattern. Reduce distractions means creating a supportive environment. Learners can say, I reduce distractions by turning off notifications. The structure by plus verb ing clearly explains method. Stay focused means protecting attention. Learners can say, I stay focused by working in short sessions. This sounds practical and realistic. Manage attention is a modern phrase that shifts responsibility gently. Instead of saying, I am easily distracted, learners can say, I am learning to manage my attention. This uses the present continuous tense to show progress, not failure. Adverbs help tone. Words like carefully, intentionally, and calmly make sentences sound thoughtful. For example, I intentionally plan focused work time. Talking about distractions should be neutral. Distractions are not personal weaknesses, they are environmental challenges. Using sentences like, distractions affect my focus, removes blame. In conclusion, Weekly organization succeeds when attention is protected. When learners use clear grammar and supportive language, they stay focused without pressure.
Daniel, my final question is about reflection. Many people plan their week, but they never look back to see what worked and what didn't. Without reflection, the same mistakes repeat every week. So my question is, how important is reflecting on your week, and how can learners talk about weekly reflection in English? Please include expressions such as reflect on your week, learn from mistakes, and make improvements. From a grammar perspective, explain how learners can use the past simple tense for reflection and comparative forms like better and more effective. Finally, how can learners talk about mistakes in a positive and constructive way?
Emma, reflection is one of the most powerful habits in weekly organization. Planning helps you move forward, but reflection helps you improve. Learners can use the past simple tense to describe their week. For example, I finished my main tasks, or I felt tired on Wednesday. These sentences state facts without emotion. Reflect on your week means thinking calmly about what happened. Learners can say, I reflect on my week every Sunday. This shows routine and intention. Learn from mistakes is a positive expression. Learners can say, I learned from my mistakes and adjusted my plan. This sentence shows growth. Comparative forms help explain improvement. For example, this week was better than last week, or my plan became more effective. These comparisons show progress, not perfection. Talking about mistakes should be constructive. Instead of saying, I failed, learners can say, I noticed what didn't work. The verb notice sounds analytical, not emotional. Grammar supports mindset. Using sentences like, I am improving my planning skills, shows development over time. In conclusion, reflection turns experience into wisdom. When learners talk about their week using calm grammar and positive language, they build strong, lasting planning habits.
In this episode of the Learn and Talk podcast, we explored how to organize your week in a practical, flexible, and realistic way. Weekly organization is not about controlling every hour or creating perfect schedules. It is about clarity, balance, and intention. When people understand what truly matters each week, they reduce stress and increase focus. We discussed key elements such as setting priorities, avoiding overwhelm, staying flexible, managing distractions, building balance between work and rest, and reflecting on progress. These skills help turn weekly planning into a supportive habit instead of a stressful task. We also learned that unexpected changes are normal, and adjusting your plan is a sign of strength, not failure. From an English learning perspective, this topic showed how language shapes behavior. Using the present simple to describe routines, modal verbs to give advice, conditionals to explain results, and the past simple for reflection helps learners communicate clearly and confidently. Positive and neutral language allows learners to talk about planning challenges without self-judgment. Most importantly, organizing your week is a long-term skill that grows with consistency, not perfection. Small weekly improvements lead to lasting change. When learners combine practical planning habits with supportive English expressions, they gain confidence in both their daily life and their communication. Keep planning with intention, stay flexible, reflect regularly, and remember, a well-organized week supports a better life and better English every day.